Barbara Papa away.
Okay, it says excellent connection. Oh, where's our...
Excellent. Don't rely on that. You want to go on to here, I'll drive.
Well, I got it.
Go.
Oh, it's just... No, I got it. It's just... Doing this left-handed, it's a little different.
Right. There they come. Rolling on in.
There we go. There we go.
Rolling.
Hey, guys. Okay, there's Fulton Pierce, Jennifer Delaney, Rich, Comic Book Man. Hello there.
Hey.
And Elle. Hello there, Elle. And Lawrence. And Wiki Bobby. Hopefully you're doing okay.
Oh, Wiki Bobby's in the chat.
Hopefully he's hanging in there.
Yeah.
So we've got the night owls creeping on in.
He's like, I'm back.
Man, we'll give everybody a couple minutes to get situated.
Word up.
Get situated. Albert's here.
Coolio.
How are you this evening? We're doing okay, Albert.
We got through that stinker again. I mean, ooh. We didn't learn our lesson the first time, I guess.
I'm losing my voice a little bit, but I'm okay. I think it's the weather.
Could be.
Lawrence, okay, cool. All right. We hope you guys are doing good and you're going to have a good Easter weekend.
Right. You're prepared. You got all the food ready and everything, thought out what you're going to do, your travel plans, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's Good Friday for like another hour.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, for almost another hour.
And then it's into the Easter weekend.
Then it'll be Super Saturday.
I mean, are there a lot of stories? Yeah.
Easter Sunday.
Yeah, and are there a lot of stories in the news about the cost of eggs and Easter, how it's going to affect? I mean, I didn't hear a lot about that building up to the weekend.
I think everything is so expensive that
Doesn't
it's like not
anymore?
News anymore. Everyone's just sort of like, yeah, we know.
Well, could be. Well, hopefully this show provides some sort of escape from all that.
All the craziness.
But
yeah.
We've hopefully been doing that for the past bunch of years we've been on. No matter what's going on out there, this is a sort of a refuge away from all the...
A little break from the current events and the schedules that people have to keep.
Yeah, at any given time. Yes. It doesn't matter.
David Phillips is here. He says, hello.
The winner.
Funny, I do have that figure, but now she can have a sister. Oh, we didn't know.
He must have bought one that we sold it.
Yeah, I think I had a few that were for sale in the past.
If you could trade it for something, what's another, I don't know if you want another mummy monkey thing or something else somebody has, they might trade it for you.
Well, we'll have to talk off the area. Yeah. Maybe we could swap it with something else.
Or that'd be cool though. If you wanted to connect with a viewer, one of the viewers, and if you're in whatever you're in the other stuff you're collecting, David, it doesn't have to be Mummy the Monkey stuff. Say what you're looking for out there, and maybe one of the viewers, hey, I collect that stuff too. I have an extra this. I'll trade you that Janet Decay custom for this. You never know. It's like a swap meet.
Well, we did have one person won, but then they said, hey, send the prize to so and so. So then I emailed so and so saying, hey, this guy said to send the prize to you.
Yeah.
And that happened about a month ago, and I thought that was nice.
Anyway, but
someone was like, "Oh, I'm good. Send it to so and so." Like they're friends or something.
Once it's yours, you could do what you want with it.
Yeah.
We'll send it to wherever.
Ty is saying, volunteering for an Earth Day cleanup tomorrow. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on the weekend.
Yeah, helping nature. It's always good.
Oh, there's Richard Becerra.
Mm-hmm. What's he saying?
He says, hello, I like tonight's movie. I've seen it several times. Can't say it gets better, but it's always enjoyable. It is. I am convinced that since it's a Japanese movie. Do we have to do the intro first, or what?
Oh, we could just keep talking. I was just trying to pull up the chat so I can read it on my phone.
Oh, I'm sure they were knee deep into it already.
Because sometimes it's hard to read from over there.
David Phillips. Oh, man, come on.
David Phillips, thank you. That's very sweet.
Yeah,
thank you, dude.
If you didn't know, welcome to the Mummy and the Monkey's Harry Scary Hangover.
Yes, this is our after show chat show where we just kind of let loose and talk about whatever's. Sometimes I have like notes written down where I try to have a topic where maybe we talk about a movie or do a review. This time I didn't write anything down.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a free-for-all.
Yeah, potpourri, hodgepodge. We did have one of the viewers on the last show, Victor, said, talk about UFOs.
I thought maybe we could talk about Easter candy and some nostalgic things like that since it's timely.
Yeah, we could.
But, people like the UFO stuff too, so we could talk about that.
There's so much to talk about. Are you kidding?
Yeah, the UFO stuff is fascinating. I am obsessed with it. For real.
Yes.
Like, I love... if there's any news with that, and there's been different documentaries, and so many people around the world have claimed to have seen UFOs or UAPs. And I just think it's really fascinating.
Fulton Pierce, he's like talking like the guy in the movie today. No notes! He's scream talking.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, like we hosted the Harry Scary Hangout earlier. That is our Friday night show where we play a cheesy B movie. And tonight's movie was The Revenge of Dr. X. And the one guy throughout the whole movie, he's always yelling about something, And
I was convinced because it was a Japanese movie, right? It was made by Toei or put out by a Japanese... Distributed by.
Yes.
But it was also made in Japan. I think
it was a Japanese-American
collaboration.
Yes.
He came off, it's that sort of, not affect, but in a lot of movies when the Japanese talk... when they dub it, they have to do, they're still, very aggressive, talking like this. It sounds like they were coaching him to kind of be more like how very
some of the
strict
some of the characters in the Japanese movies
be very angry. What are you talking about? The rocket is not going.
Like a very angry tough guy.
Yeah, like businessmen are very serious.
I'm being very serious.
It seemed a little forced, but because he was just, and it wasn't really anything to get that worked up about.
It was really tacky. Like there was people were commenting, use your indoor voice.
Yeah. Why are you yelling, dude?
Why are you yelling throughout the whole movie?
Someone was like, talk quieter, fool. But anyway, it was still, it is what it is. And I think it's funny or interesting they don't really show you the monster until the final act,
Yeah.
The last 5 minutes of the movie, then this thing pops up. I mean, it's...
But that's how a lot of these old cheesy monster movies are.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of back and forth talking, and we have to figure things out, and then it's 5 minutes of the monster at the end.
I will give them credit. At least there was a monster, and it wasn't one of these invisible terror movies.
Those are terrible. Where they don't even have a monster, but they keep talking about a monster.
They do, but it's invisible.
Oh, the monster's invisible.
It's choking me. It's all the bad acting. And,
yeah. It's so bad.
Better than that.
Yeah, it was better than that. At least it
lame.
had a monster, and you got to see some of the plant stuff going on.
Yeah.
Some of the experiments he was doing. Okay, let's check out some of the comments.
Which is interesting.
Albert Metelsky, thank you so much for the super chat.
Because the whole idea of that movie, too, without getting too a deep dive about it, because who cares, but that the botanist, doctor, scientist guy was grafting plants together. And you were reading a story today on the Good News Network or something.
Yes, about I was looking up Good News.
There was a gentleman in India who, since the 50s, was grafting different mango trees together.
A mango tree that's over 100 years old, and it has 300 different versions of mango.
Yeah, who knew there were that many?
So each branch has a different flavor of mango.
It's one tree with different mango trees that were branches that were grafted to the
I just thought that was really neat.
Wild stuff, right?
Yeah, and then his whole family, I guess they are big on growing mangoes.
He's still alive.
It's like a family business.
He's been doing it since the 50s, and he's still alive. But so it's just interesting that you read that today out of all the things. The fruit of his labors. But that's what this fellow is doing, but except with carnivorous plants. So.
With man-eating plants.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Weird.
So I had no idea there were over 300 types of mango. You learn something new every day. Okay, let's see. Comic Book Man says, only good invisible monster movie is Fiend Without a Face. At least there was a good payoff with that one.
But you do see they do show you the brain creatures.
They do show you a little bit, yeah.
And then when you shoot them, they turn into melted cheese. Mm-hmm. So you do see something. I'm talking about the ones that are the whole thing is just the monster is always invisible. Yes. Even when they kill it, I guess it's there.
And Comic Book Man says the Meta Luna Mutant is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
that's a wonderful.
That was designed by.
Millicent Patrick,
who also designed
the creature from the Black Lagoon. But she, I think I've talked about her before because there's a whole book about her life that was really good. It was called, I think, The Lady from the Black Lagoon.
Yes.
And it was about her art and her career. She originally started working for Disney. She did work on Oh, what is that one? Fantasia?
Fantasia.
I think it was Fantasia. And then she went on to do work for Universal, but then Bud Westmore, who was a dumb jerk, he fired her and took all the credit. And that's what Bud Westmore did with anyone who worked under him. He would take all the credit and just treat them like crap. So, yeah, he was a jerk.
James Muscarella, second time, shouting out he has a great new skit idea for it. And I read that. It's funny. We took note of it, James. So.
Oh, yes. Thank you, James.
Thank you for that idea.
In Search of the Golden Banana.
The Metaluna Mutant.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, so cool. Easter candy.
Easter candy.
Is that really a topic?
We could talk about it for a little while, and then we can move on to UFOs.
Let's see, Easter candy.
I always love talking about UFOs.
So what's your favorite Easter candy?
My favorite Easter candy? Probably like the little dark chocolate bunnies or the smaller like little eggs.
Did you really get dark chocolate as a kid?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, but that was almost 4,000 years ago.
The only dark chocolate I remember as a kid was the ones that you get the special dark. When you get the little bite size.
Oh, Hershey's.
Hershey's, they would and
Hershey's special dark.
We would never want that. We only wanted the milk chocolate.
When you're a kiddo, you like the sweeter stuff more.
Yes,
but I think as you get older, some people like dark chocolate.
You would eat it as a kid, but it was like when you ate all the other chocolate, you're like, oh, I guess that's what's left.
Do you remember the chocolate bunnies that were like solid chocolate?
Now, yes.
Because a lot of them are hollow now. I don't think they make a lot of solid chocolate bunnies.
They do not. Those are more expensive.
And some of the cheapy ones were like really waxy. Like it didn't have a lot of chocolate in it. It probably had like a lot of other filler stuff.
Oh, I got a little notification. Thank you, Rachel. She sent us $10.
What?
That's very nice.
Thank
you.
Rachel, that's so sweet. You don't have to do that.
She gets a Barba Papa.
Aww. Thank you, Miss Rachel.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're talking about candy there. So, but I remember, speaking of those the hollow chocolate bunnies. One year, our Mama Monkey got us, me and my brother, some chocolate bunnies. And she'd put together the full Easter baskets, and they'd be on the kitchen table. But above it was a lamp, and it must have been warm that Easter. This was years and years ago, decades ago.
Okay.
And they were big, tall ones too, and with the little hard white sugar eyes, Mm-hmm. So they were chocolate bunnies, and with the
candy sugar.
They were like the hard white sugar eyes with the blue pupil painted on them.
I remember those.
Right. So, we saw them before we went to bed. We were all excited, and we went to bed. We wake up. And it was so warm in the apartment, and they were under the light that was hanging up. And this is when they use those really hot light bulbs. We have those
the incandescent lights,
now,
but light bulbs used to get hot.
We have the LEDs now, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wake up in the morning to run to our Easter baskets, and they're puddles with the eyes floating on top.
Oh no, he got melty.
It was hilarious. Yeah, we were laughing about
the melty bunny.
It's only because they were hollow, but.
Aw, poor Mr. Bunny.
But I liked biting open the hollow chocolate ones. It was kind of different. That was weird.
I liked the solid chocolate better.
Oh, if you could afford it.
But then it's like kind of tough to bite into.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like a lot of chocolate.
Yeah, I think I preferred the shell, but
All right, let's check out some comments.
What are they saying?
Here.
What did you like out there? With
Jelly beans were fun, says Paul.
Except for the black ones. No one liked those. The licorice.
The licorice ones? And then John says, when I was a kid, John says, my wife loves Brack spiced jelly beans. Couldn't find them this year. And then Spider...
Not Brack. Brock's.
Brock's? I never knew how that was pronounced.
B-R-A-C-H, Brock.
And then Spider says, when I was a kid, I used to love those caramel rings with the cream in the middle.
Those are called bullseyes or bulls? Yeah, bullseyes.
Oh, I liked cowtails.
Cowtails was another version of that. It was basically extruded caramel with the cream in the center.
Yeah, those are good.
Bullseyes were those cut up basically, but
they were like smaller pieces.
But a cow's tail wasn't that girthy. If I remember correctly, because you got this extruded piece of caramel, so it wasn't as round. But if you got the bullseye, which is what he's talking about, those are my favorite too, especially when the caramel was soft. And I remember there was sort of a powdered sugar, sort of out. Not powdered sugar. It was always kind of like a powdery white.
Powdery.
Probably the way they handle it in the factory, so it doesn't stick. But then the center was that cream.
Oh, okay.
Sugary cream, and I used to love eating that first, and then eating the caramel after. Oh, those are so good.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, Brock's. They put out. They used to have flavors of like taffy. It's caramel. They had like raspberry and vanilla and butterscotch, all kinds of weird chocolate. They had a chocolate caramel that was really good.
Oh wow!
And they would come in that. They were like the wrappers were like foil. They had like different colors, like blue and purple, yellow, whatever. But boy, I love those two. The Brock's. You can go to the store and buy. You can still buy candy by the pound in some stores.
Yeah, some jelly beans I liked, and then.
Well, tell them your jelly bean story.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
This is good.
So my brother and we had jelly beans, and the flavors that we didn't like, we would hide in my mummy's china cabinet in the drawers of this cabinet. I don't know. When you're a kiddo, you think of dumb things to do.
Right.
I'll just hide the jelly beans there. I don't want those flavors. Well, the ants found them.
Lots of them.
Lots of ants. There were ants all over the house.
But in the drawer, when your mom opened the drawer, she's like, "What the?"
Yeah, and she wasn't happy about that. So we were feeding a whole ant colony, and we didn't realize. Why are all these ants in here? Oh, that's why, because you're feeding them. You left sugar out for them.
Yeah, right. But and I remember we were bused to Sunday schools during those days, and we would go and we hear the church stuff and the good word of the day, and we'd come home and we'd watch like cartoons and stuff like that and eat our Easter candy, and because you'd get some on the bus there, they would give away candy because they always correlate the candy with what about Cadbury eggs? Are you a fan of those?
I used to really, really love Cadbury eggs.
I did too.
Now, not so much.
It's too much sugar.
There's a lot of candy and sweets that I liked back in the day, but I can't eat them now. I'm like, oh, that's too sweet.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing anymore.
Yeah, no offense to Cadbury.
But they say your taste buds change every 7 years, so.
Well, yep. And also Peeps are another thing I was.
Oh,
that was but see,
Peeps,
that was, the crunchy sugar marshmallow.
No, I do not like Peeps, not one bit.
Some people like when they get hard for some reason.
Maybe,
do you like hard Peeps?
No. I just don't like Peeps. They like stick to your teeth and everything.
Yeah, and that would be like the last resort candy. Like when everything else was eaten, if those were just laying there looking at you, you might try to. Yeah,
that and circus peanuts.
Choke
maybe.
When that. I used to love circus peanuts.
Oh,
but that's when I grew
peanuts.
to not like. Oh, circus what?
Peanuts.
Okay.
Circus peanuts.
Say it very crisply.
Circus peanuts. Yeah, gotta be careful how you pronounce that. Panel Vans had the best candy, says Fulton Pierce. Panel Vans. I don't know what that is.
Panel Vans.
Albert Metelsky says, I love Cadbury eggs. I just bought like a gross of them.
Wow. All that sugary goo inside.
And buttered popcorn jelly beans are the best, says Richard.
Yeah. It's Jelly Belly.
Yeah, and J. Michael Harris says, I loved black jelly beans. I also liked room temperature Jaeger, so go figure.
Oh, man, Jaeger. Boy. Yeah. I haven't had that in a little bit. But
ever go to Be a Sweetie, says John Bacon.
Yes.
So there's a shop in Northeast Ohio. It's in Parma, Ohio, to be exact. It's called Be a Sweetie, and it's literally a giant candy warehouse type of store.
Warehouse. It's a warehouse.
It's a warehouse full of candy. So when you go in there, you feel like a kid in a candy store. They have like all the retro candies, new candy stuff, all kinds of different things to rot your teeth with.
And some drugstores, like Drug Mart in Cleveland, they do have like little old-fashioned candy, like a rack, where they have some of the stuff, like someone's talking about orange slices. Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
But they had different ones, too, like lemon, lime, and it was basically like a jelly candy shaped like a wedge of like lemon or whatever, orange. But then it was coated with that sugar. Mm-hmm. God, it was so good.
Fulton Pierce, too many commercials for a live stream. I have it set so the ads run every 12 minutes. And we only run ads on the shows that we're chatting on, where we're not playing a movie. When we play the movies, we do not run commercials.
Right.
It's to keep our channel going so we can keep doing this.
Yes.
So you can skip the commercials after a couple seconds.
Right.
So
you're not locked in.
I mean, if you're watching a television show on regular TV, they've got a crap ton of commercials.
Yeah, you can't skip those unless you're on like a Roku or something.
Yeah. So it is what it is, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It helps pay the little bills that we need.
It's so we get a few pennies for hosting this.
Yeah, that's a great thing. The internet is, or YouTube is really it's built to make money. It's not it is free, but at the same time, content.
A lot of content creators will put ads on it so they can
make a living,
keep the channel going, and not always to make a living,
or to try, You
can't always make a living on it, but
it depends. You could. There's some people that make millions of dollars.
I'm fully aware of that, but there's different varying levels. Yeah. Sometimes it might just help keep it going if someone has to get a new microphone or something.
We basically do this for free. But but if you can make a couple of bucks here and there, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's to keep the channel going. That's all, guys.
We don't pick the commercials.
So thank you for your understanding.
They're random. Why do they have some wacky? I don't know what they're showing.
I saw Chewy commercials on there.
I just hope they don't show those Sarah McLachlan sad pet videos.
No, it looked like it was for Chewy.
I know, I'm just saying. Those are the ones those really.
The online pet shop. Yeah.
No,
it wasn't anything like that. Oh, those ones are really bad on broadcast television. Those really the like help the animals ones.
We don't pick the ads, Albert. I mean, we can't show Victoria's Secrets ones. We can be cool, but it's probably not gonna. I don't know what they're showing. You said Chewy?
Yeah, I saw one for Chewy. I don't know what the others are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't let us pick the ads.
No,
that would be kind of cool if we could.
That would be cool.
Because then maybe we could pick some more entertaining ones.
What's interesting to me about that, if you think about it, it's like they don't know what we're saying, and Chewy's like, yeah, cool, like you can like put our thing. How do they know what their stuff's being advertised?
They see you dressed like a monkey.
No, that's not.
And maybe the YouTube algorithm gods think, Chewy.com.
No,
you could get monkey chow on there.
Yeah, nobody has pet monkeys. Listen, but
some people do.
But think about it. What if we were? We could be talking about all kinds of effed up stuff.
But we don't.
And then here comes a Chewy or whatever.
But we don't. We try to be good.
But how did they know?
Well, if we were,
I'm not talking about just us.
If we were being bad on YouTube, they'd probably take the video down.
You're being too literal. I'm saying in general, like YouTube videos, they don't know.
Well, they do it in good faith, hoping that you behave yourself.
Yeah, but if
and then when you don't behave yourself, they take it down.
It's shown on something that's like a horrible, like, I don't even want to talk about what the different subject matters.
Okay, let's read some comments.
Oh, you're not following the.
Let's read some comments. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole with you.
But I'm just wondering how did they know?
Jennifer Delaney, Janet, do you like opening Easter eggs and find money in them?
Of course.
Yeah. There used to be like change in some of the eggs, like pennies or quarters or something.
You could do the same thing at a supermarket when women leave their purses in there. Hey, look, there's money in here.
Grim.
Right?
No.
No, that's wrong?
No.
Oh, okay.
Albert says, okay, they're talking about YouTube Premium. Yeah.
Well, that's on you.
I think that's for their music and to skip commercials.
Yes.
YouTube has like a paid streaming.
Yeah, it started out without all these commercials, and that it became it. But again, they have to have money to run. It's a business. It's not it's not a governmentally funded, like free service. It's a business. So
okay, Gary Smith says Sweets and Geeks store at Great Northern Mall
haven't been there yet.
Sweets and Geeks at Great Northern Mall has retro candy and many brands of glass bottled pop. Oh, that sounds like fun.
Glass bottled pop.
Like pop in the glass bottles.
Yeah.
Like different flavors of pop. Or some people call it soda or Coke. Different flavors of Coke. Down south they call it Coke.
Everything is Coke, but I don't know how you specify what kind
type
of flavor.
Coke do you want?
What flavor
what
of Coke?
Flavor of Coke?
Pepsi. Boom. Just hit them with that.
I like calling it pop.
So are we going to switch, because we've done this rap before, unless you want to keep talking about candy, or if you want to switch to UFOs.
So let's switch to UFOs.
Something totally has nothing to do with Easter, or does it?
Maybe the Easter Bunny is.
Maybe a lot of stuff that's Easter Bunny.
Well, maybe he flies around in a UFO.
Okay. Well,
to deliver all the treats
we
to everybody?
We could keep
I'm making a joke.
The biblical sort of correlations to UFOs, because again, we've had this discussion in private about if there are some things in the Bible that don't make any sense unless you turn that lens of it being extraterrestrial. Then all of a sudden, maybe.
See, now this sounds like something that would be on that radio show Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast AM. Yeah,
yes, I love that show.
The old, hosted by Art Bell, the best host ever.
Art Bell
for this material
was the best.
Followed by, in my opinion, Ian Punnett was good. The late Ian Punnett. Both Art Bell and Ian Punnett have passed away. Now it's hosted by George Norrie. Mm-hmm. And there's
He's
a bunch of co-hosts.
He's been hosting it for a while, yeah.
And we have a buddy of mine. I went to elementary school. His name is Jim Harold. He does a paranormal type podcast. He has been for quite a while. You can check his stuff out on Facebook. Jim Harold. And he's actually been on Coast to Coast AM.
His show is Jim's Campfire or something?
Yeah, Jim Harold's Campfire is one of the things he does.
And he tells ghost stories and talks about different things.
Yes.
So that's fun.
But we love, I personally was in the UFOs as a kid, of course. It's like dinosaurs and anything else. Mm-hmm. But aliens, the possibility of life out there somewhere, right?
I think it's fascinating. And they're NASA's doing a lot of stuff with,
space.
Checking out the surface of Mars.
And
so I think there was something that came out recently in the news with Mars.
Yeah, they sent Katy Perry to Mars. And she's like...
But she came back, darn.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Oh, wacky.
Oh, I've even seen some people posting pictures of a test mission they did where the capsule, it's clearly a dummy in there because the hand is very plastic looking.
Yeah.
And going, like they didn't go up there. They said, you know what I mean? They found this one, and it's that, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true, but it's someone took an old photo.
Oh, like there was a fake video of someone
An old photo of a test run they did years ago using that same capsule.
But going to Mars?
But not no.
What are you talking about?
They didn't send Katy Perry to Mars, number one.
I know they didn't, but what are you talking about?
There are some people saying that those women that went up into space or up in the stratosphere didn't really go.
Oh, there's always people that...
So that conspiracy's out there.
Boy.
Anyway.
Everyone's got a conspiracy.
Yeah, because why would they send all of those famous women up there? Because if that went wrong, that could be really bad. But it didn't.
They must have done research to make sure it was safe.
Just like some people believe we didn't go to the moon. Like that America, that we didn't fly to the moon or take off to the moon 69 and land and walk on it. There are some people that believe that.
Yeah, I don't know.
What on flat Earth are they talking about?
I don't know. Darren says, I love Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that show too.
Thanks, Brent Terhune. I borrowed one of his lines. A comedian friend.
Mr. Lobo is on there a lot.
Mr. Lobo is on. Yeah, he's sort of the, the horror host that they go to. It used to be Dr. Bogus from New Orleans. There was a horror host named Dr. Bogus. He kind of talked like this. And George Norrie was a big fan. I guess he grew up in New Orleans area.
In New Orleans?
Nolans. And that was his horror host growing up, George Norrie, the host of Coast to Coast AM.
Cool.
And he used to have Dr. Morgus on. Dr. Morgus passed away a few years ago. Mm-hmm. But now that you have Mr. Lobo on, not the Mummy and the Monkey, but that could change one day. You never know.
Yeah, they could have us on there. That'd be cool.
We could talk his ear off about UFOs.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Come on, Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
Have a Mummy and the Monkey on.
There you go.
We're still waiting to get on Jim Harold's show. I wish he would do a Jim Halloween Harold thing with us. Come on, man.
Hint, wink, wink,
We're
nudge,
Horror
nudge.
Host Hall of Famers, for crying out loud.
And Sears James says, my grandmother didn't believe they walked on the moon.
Some people don't. There's the big question with that is the Van Halen radiation belt.
And Rachel Sheeters says, did Kubrick stage the landing?
Stanley Kubrick.
She's making a joke.
Well,
did he stage the landing?
Yeah, but he could have. I mean, he did Capricorn 1. Did Kubrick do that movie? We know he did 2001: A Space Odyssey.
2001: Space Odyssey. But that's what I was thinking.
But the movie Capricorn 1 with O.J. Simpson is that movie where it was about them faking the moon landing.
Oh, so maybe that's where the conspiracy people got that from, because it was in that movie.
But the scientific question, the big thing, and I'm not going to get that far into it because I don't know that much technical stuff. But there's the Van Allen. I was just joking. I know it's not Van Halen.
You said Van Halen.
I'm being silly. That sounds cooler. That would be cool. The Van Allen radiation belt, which is like some radioactive barrier that exists somewhere between here and the moon. Like there's a lot of scientists that think you can't go through that without being irradiated. Because if you did, you'd get the Fantastic Four. They got bombarded by cosmic rays in the comics, and they came back all stretchy and rocky and invisibly and flamey. But no, that humans couldn't get through that Van Allen radiation belt to get to the moon. But that's
then they're talking about sending people to the moon again. So
someone says the Sammy Hagar.
I mean, if they did it then maybe they could do it now.
We did it once, so maybe we could do it again.
Yeah. and do more research there.
Either the
I thought we were talking about the UFO stuff.
Or conspiracy.
Not necessarily.
Okay, UFOs.
What is your take? We could talk about outer space stuff.
What is your take on aliens?
My opinion on it?
And UAPs. Do you call them UAPs or UFOs?
UFOs, but I know the new terminology is UAP.
Unidentified aerial phenomena. Phenomena. Phenomena.
You know, to quote the X-Files, the truth is out there, and I think it's very possible that there are other life forms that have been watching us from afar, and they're kind of keeping tabs on us, and maybe some of them have visited. I think it's definitely possible. Why wouldn't it be?
Where is your proof?
If there's so much out there that we don't even know about.
Well,
you know? Why wouldn't it be possible? And there's so many people all around the world who have claimed to have seen something that didn't look like an airplane or didn't look like any of our spacecrafts that we know of.
Right. Well, see, I want to believe, just like that Mulder poster says in X-Files.
Yes, right? I want to believe.
I want to believe. But it gets harder to when you have so many people where your toaster now can take, 1080p video or 4K, and there's not one actual, a proven piece of film that shows anything close to that. That's not a blur. I would say but I'll take that back. The most compelling video that's out there now to me is the military stuff that gets released, like the Tic Tac video, right?
Oh, and more than that, there was that one where it looked like some type of being floating around with these dangling legs.
That got released from the
and that was leaked, on a military base in the Middle East.
Yes, and it was that it's the jellyfish.
What were they? The jellyfish. I was trying to remember what they were calling it,
but it was jellyfish UFO.
The way it was just moving, it was really eerie.
It makes your stomach feel weird.
Yeah, it's
because
very
it doesn't
odd.
look quite right.
Yeah, it does. It's just very.
It's
strange.
It's very odd. It comes. I mean, and because you'd think if you saw something that's fake right away, your eye could tell. Like when you go to a horror movie and you see someone get disemboweled, you're like, "Oh, it's gross," but it doesn't. I know it's not.
You
real.
know it's a movie. You know it's not real.
If you see like one of those real videos, like from a hostage or something, and I know people look those videos up. You have a total different visceral reaction because it is your eye can tell the reality. Same thing with this video. You're looking at this thing going, I've seen a lot of like UFO stuff, but this thing is just weird. I mean, the weirdness just makes you.
It's weird, and that was on. Was that on Tubi?
Now there was. Who's that?
What was that documentary on? What's that dude's name?
Oh my gosh.
Oh shoot.
What was it? Netflix?
I don't think it was Netflix. I think it was on Tubi. It was
TMZ. It was Amazon.
The UFO something.
Let me look it up real quick. If we only had a way.
It was either Tubi or Prime.
Jeremy, what's his name?
Hold on, let me check comments while you do that.
Yeah.
James Muscarella, the Van Allen belt was featured in the Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea movie with Walter Pidgeon, Frankie Avalon, Barbara Eden, and Peter Lorre. Well, thank you.
The name of the show is the UFO Revolution.
UFO Revolution. And there's like 3 or 4 parts to it.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. Sears James says aliens don't exist. And let's see. We're in an alien reality show, says Fulton, those wacky earthlings.
Jeremy Corbell. We should know these names by heart.
Blood Pact Film says aliens are in the ocean.
So there's a fellow named Jeremy Corbell who's been going around, and he actually... he's been on all kinds of talk shows, but he is trying his best. He hooked up with Bob Lazar, who was another famous Area 51 guy who claimed to work at Area 51, who actually says he worked on some of the back engineering, some of the UFOs the government has either gotten from crashes or captured somehow.
Yeah.
And he has his, he's seen these things in hangars, right? But the way he describes it, the way the government, the way they do it, is that, or these top secret, government things going on, the black projects they call them, they compartmentalize all of it. Like, so one scientist doesn't work on everything. You only work on the entry to the ship. You work on the systems. You work on what it's made out of. So
they only give you so much info.
And that's all you're allowed to study.
That's it.
You're not allowed to study the whole thing. That way you can't, no one person has all of the information. But Bob Lazar is one of the only people that stepped forward from Area 51 And there's definitely stuff going on there. I mean, we have to be experimenting with something, flight, weapons, things like that.
Probably. I mean,
and they've said too, like when the stealth bomber was finally revealed to the public, it had already been developed 10, 15 years before that.
Oh.
But no one knew about it. So if someone saw this thing flying very fast in the air, there was nothing like that before. Now we just say it's a stealth bomber, but before we didn't know. So
yes.
So if that technology was that advanced back in the 70s and 80s, God knows what our military people developed. I mean, alien in the sense that it's alien to us, the technology, right? Mm-hmm. But doesn't mean it's from another source, another galaxy, another anything.
Gary Smith, it's strange that the Earth is flat and all the other planets are round.
So he's
making a joke.
But here's what I think we talked about this before. The Barney and Betty Hill case.
Oh yeah, we have.
From the late 60s.
I believe Barney and Betty.
From the early 60s. Yes. Well,
and there was a movie made based on their lives, on their experiences, and it's called the UFO incident.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's got the late great James Earl Jones.
I'll have to see if we can host it one day.
James Earl Jones plays Barney Hill. Mm-hmm. And
he was awesome.
Who plays Betty? I can't think right now.
I can't remember her name.
But she's perfect.
But they're both awesome together.
Really good. Yeah, and they're a mixed couple. He's African American, she's Caucasian, and this is in the 60s, so they had no reason to call a lot of attention to themselves.
And they had regular jobs. I think she was a social worker. He worked as a mailman.
Yeah.
They had regular jobs, they had regular lives.
And their encounter, and it's what they were reporting missing time, and they went to a someone that regressed them and put them under hypnosis, and separately, and they talked about what they experienced. It's the classic abduction stuff, and some of it very detailed, like going onto this ship, alien ship. Betty says she was supposed to be given a book but then they said no at the end, that we don't want you to be able to prove that you had this happen to you, and
one of the beings, I guess, gave her, told her what's...
Well, they showed her a star
Showed
map.
her the map of the star system they were from.
So this is the thing that I think is the most compelling piece of proof of a UFO encounter, is her depiction. She drew out in 1960, and don't hold me to years, in the mid-60s, she drew a map that they showed her, a constellation. It wasn't until several years later, like in 1969, that astronomers discovered Zeta Reticuli, and it's the exact same constellation. Now, how the hell would she know that?
And it looks exactly like what she drew.
Yes,
that map.
It's the exact constellation.
Wow.
How would she know? You can't get.
She wouldn't have known that.
This is with the high-powered microscopes that they had at the time.
Yeah, that it matched up.
Very strange. I mean,
that's really odd.
Interesting.
I think that's really
that's
neat.
very interesting if that's all 100% true. So
Lauren says, I believe in Barney and Betty Hill with the purple dinosaur and the English comedian. Okay.
Boy.
He's joking.
Benny Hill.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how we can get astonishing pictures from the Hubble Space Telescope?
But not one
But
UFO.
yet we can't get a clear picture of a criminal committing a crime or somebody robbing a bank.
Well,
it's a different video thing altogether.
The thing that's taking pictures of people on a corner is probably like $100 or $200. The Hubble telescope cost a little bit more than that.
And then Darren says, I love how NASA lost the blueprints to rebuild the lunar lander. Yeah. Heck, Columbus never needed to return either.
There's a lot of interesting things they say about they say the electronics in your laptop nowadays is more sophisticated than what they sent the astronauts up in. Now, how could that be possible?
Kate says, I believe them too, Janet.
Them who what?
The Betty and Barney.
Yeah, it's a very interesting case. I mean, they had no real monetary gain to talk about this. They didn't get paid to do that. They were calling it. They didn't need to call attention to their status. I mean, because people were very, was way more polarized racially back then. Yeah. Now we're coming back to that.
Well, unfortunately.
Anyway,
yeah.
But definitely.
I wish people would just be nice to each other.
And I speak from experience because I've had a similar. Let's just say I have a similar experience with that same thing genetically. Anyway.
Anyways, that's let's continue on.
So many things, but yes, is it possible that there are there's other life forms out there. Quite possible, yes.
I think it's very much possible, especially if, you read about all these sightings and all these experiences that so many people report having experienced, and a lot of them are very similar. So I think if so many people have come forward, and there has to be like something there. There has to be, could some people have made it up?
Sure, absolutely.
Of course, they probably do make some of it up, but not all of them are going to make it up.
Another one that has
there has to be some truth there.
Another one that had a lot of traction was the Travis Walton, The Fire in the Sky.
Oh, yes, and someone asked if we saw the Fire in the Sky movie.
I think I did a while back. I need to watch it again.
I don't remember if I have seen it.
But I've heard the Travis Walton, thing 100 million times. It's very, again, a guy who really doesn't need that kind of attention. I don't think, how do you know that you can do anything with that? People will probably think you got to be careful with that stuff. People still, and that was the whole point of the X-Files series. You found out at the end, the whole idea was, yes, they're here, but we got to make people sound crazy if people think that they're here.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That was the whole point of it. Yes, that's exactly what's going on.
Any news story they do on UFOs, they always make it seem like the person is wacky or that the story is cuckoo, when there could be some, like what they experienced could have been true.
Yeah, but okay, so here's something that I wonder. We've talked about this too. Like the government, they say different governments around the world have all these like crashed craft, alien craft. Why wouldn't one just, out of all the, not just one or two, some have like multiple, maybe 10 to 20.
Like we need the Star Trek Federation to like work together. Like, can't we all just like work together on this?
But what I was gonna say, and some of these are like crashes. Why can't one crash?
Can't we all just get along?
No, I'm talking about that. I'm saying, why can't one of these crafts that these multiple different governments have multiples of, have just randomly crashed in the middle of New York City, so everyone could see it, and not in some country, some backwoods place.
Yeah, it's usually like in the middle of nowhere, but there have been some cities that have seen it.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the crashes they retrieve, because I've heard stories from like people like Bob Lazar. Oh, our government has like multiple ships. Retrieved how? From crashes. Oh, good. Okay, but how many do they have? Let's say they have 10 of them.
Yeah.
All 10 crashed in the middle of nowhere that the government was able to retrieve. Not one of those. Now, this is just some of these people have said that governments all over the world have multiple crashes, retrieved alien. So why wouldn't one of them? Let's say there are 100 ships.
Like one of them come out and say, "Hey, look what we got."
Why wouldn't one of those ships that crash in the middle of New York City, so we can all see it, and not in the desert somewhere?
Maybe they don't want to be seen.
Yeah, that's too specific. How do you control a crash though? If you have a malfunction,
maybe they were trying to land
in a
cornfield and they crashed by mistake.
Every time.
Not every. Well,
we don't see. We have not seen one random one hit any particular city around the world.
Well, I don't know. Ask them.
That's not about asking them.
I'm
talking about It's not a planned crash. It's a malfunction.
Yeah.
What? I'm going to talk like Jerry.
Well,
why
I'm
couldn't one of the ships?
Some of them probably land in places that are in the middle of nowhere.
Seinfeld,
that are. I don't care about Jerry Seinfeld.
Does he need to ask the question?
No.
Why don't these ships crash in the middle of the city?
Grim. Okay.
I mean,
okay.
These aliens.
That's great. So
I'll talk over my impression.
Maybe they prefer to land in the middle of
nowhere
where it's more secluded, and some of them end up crashing instead of landing. If I had to guess. But
you are not ready for us.
But then again, I don't know.
Nobody knows.
We don't know yet.
But it's all it would take is for one of these ships to randomly go off course, because they're all high speed, who knows, and crash in the middle of a populated area.
Spider Dreg says, "Would you want to crash in New York City?" Not me.
But, whoa. But how do you? Yeah, I'm going to pick where I'm going to crash. What is that? That doesn't make any sense.
Well.
A crash.
Why would they land? So if
I'm not talking about a landing.
Let's say you're some alien being and you want to land somewhere.
Oh my
you're
God.
going to land where there's space to land, where it's more secluded, and then you crash. Maybe maybe you have an accident and you crash instead.
But okay, I
maybe
can't.
When they're hovering around, flying around, nothing happens.
It's perfect every time. But multiple governments supposedly have multiple crafts.
I don't know, Grim. We're just talking.
It's too convenient.
All right.
Okay. I know, but I'm just saying.
Let's read comments.
But what I'm saying is, all it would take was one of those to please crash in the middle of a populated area.
And Travis says Mars Attacks is hilarious, and yes, Mars Attacks is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a great movie.
That one. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I'm saying is that one of those ships need to randomly crash in the middle of a populated area where it can't be covered up. Everyone can get their cell phones out, their toasters, whatever you're recording stuff on.
Reb says, don't we store gold so we could give it to aliens?
The what?
Don't we store gold so we could give it to the aliens? Oh, wasn't that a theory?
Yes, that's a theory. Okay, now you're getting into
that's
the
really
Sumerian,
old. Yeah.
The Sumerian text, Zechariah Sitchin. This is what he says. He's deciphered from those scroll seals. I know a lot about this. Yeah, that's the whole Nibiru thing, but that's a cool thing too because
that's really weird stuff.
According to the ancient Sumerians, that they say that there was a planet called Nibiru that has a 36,000-year orbit around the Earth, and their atmosphere was compromised. They destroyed it much like we did, and the way to repair it is to sort of atomize gold, and that helps repair their atmosphere. Obviously, I guess they were running out of gold on their planet. So
but what did they use the gold for?
They atomized it to
power their ship or something.
Repair their atmosphere.
Oh, their atmosphere.
I just said they destroyed just like us.
Sorry, I missed that part.
Destroying our atmosphere.
I was reading comments and listening.
The ozone, everything. The atmosphere's got big holes in it, right? So there's a futuristic
gold is
way,
in their atmosphere.
According
somehow.
to Zechariah Sitchin, and I've heard since then that some scientists say, yeah, that could be a way to do it. How did Zechariah Sitchin know this years ago?
Huh.
But the thing is, so the people from Nibiru, the Anunnaki, they would.
I'm listening. I'm just gonna get more water. I'll be right back.
When their planet when Nibiru was close to Earth, but if it could be predicted, I guess, if it has a 3,600 year orbit around the Earth or close to the Earth. When they would come to visit us when they got close to the Earth, they encountered a species of humans that were here, altered their DNA, trained them to dig for gold so they can mine the gold, take the gold, atomize or do whatever they do scientifically to the gold to make it repair their depleted atmosphere on Nibiru. That's the thing with the Zechariah Sitchin and the aliens and the Anunnaki. That we're basically abandoned tools to help dig up gold, mine gold that can reproduce on our by themselves, communicate with each other. But we were basically
we're like organic droids or something.
Well, we are. But before all this, we were just simply roaming the Earth, just like Cro-Magnon. And Neanderthal, whatever species
Fred Flintstone.
Because we have a lot of junk DNA too that they don't know what it is. There's all kinds of weird stuff about that, and there's creation tales about beings from other planets that mated with took daughters of. That's in the Bible. That's in Noah, about the gods or the sons of God found the daughters of man fair, came down and made wives of them, and then they made the Nephilim, which were half human, half angel, or sons of, or the sons of God,
or maybe half alien.
Well, that would be technically. That's what I was talking about when we first started the show. I said if you turn that lens from religious or whatever, like angelic to alien, A to A, that also it becomes sort of a clearer thing, right? I mean, because what's the difference?
I'm just going through the comments.
The people that wrote the Bible.
John Biggin says, "Yeah, the Nephilim created the human race to mine gold for them."
Yeah, well, there's all kinds of. Well,
that's what some people believe.
But so say what you want. A lot of people. And for years I've been trying to tell this, and I think you're starting to understand what I'm saying.
Did aliens build the pyramids, Janet? You were there, says
right.
Greg.
So tell us you have the scoop.
I don't remember because I think it was way far back.
You don't think a lot of people don't believe that the pyramids are.
Oh, so there's some new stuff going on where they believe that there's like a whole nother city underneath the pyramids.
Well, there's all
like there's all these weird structures underneath the pyramids, like way underground.
Even before this, the sound wave technology they've been using on the Giza Plateau. This was years ago. I heard this. And to this day, they'll tell you, about maybe 10% of Egypt has been unearthed. There's still they've known for years that there's a lot of stuff underneath the sand that we could see. This new technology that's able to penetrate with sound waves or whatever, underneath the Giza pyramid, and they're seeing these like columns that are taller than the Empire State Building.
Wow.
Which is nuts. And then underneath there's these huge square like chambers. If it's true, wow. I mean, who saw that one coming? That opens up a whole different can of worms. But don't forget, there's people like Edgar Cayce, the guy that lived back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, who predicted that we'd find stuff underneath the Sphinx. There's supposed to be a Hall of Records underneath the Sphinx paws. There's so much weird stuff.
There's so much that they haven't discovered. Yeah.
But there's so much weird stuff on this planet.
Yes, and under our oceans, and so many life forms.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time. And aliens or not, I mean, if you like, I've never been to Egypt and seen the pyramids, but stuff I have seen on it, you look at it. Here's what it comes down to: how could people, we can't build those structures now with all the equipment that we have. How did people that had stone and bronze tools how the hell did they build this thing that we couldn't build now?
It's a mystery.
Time?
It's one of the big mysteries.
It's a good question. It's still, and it's crazy that we still don't know. We know how to make,
No one ever questions who built the pyramids in Mexico, says Comic Book Man. Well, those are amazing structures also, and I think it's neat that there are pyramids.
Who said that?
Says Comic Book Man.
How does he know that? I went to Cancun a bunch of years ago, and I took a tour of Chichen Itza, which is the ziggurats that they have. They're the step pyramids.
Yeah, they've got like the step shape.
I got to go up that thing. It was awesome. Okay, very cool. You can't believe, and I even saw those altars that they have that they sacrificed people on and everything. And even went to that hole that's kind of close. There's this huge pit. And there's like a lake at the bottom of it where they used to sacrifice people.
Whoa.
And throw them. There's probably tons of bodies down there with all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
anyway, but when at Chichen Itza, the tour guide now, again, this could just be, stuff that they tell the tourists. But this was a local. This was a native. I guess. I can't prove that he was. But I guess he said that he was. Whatever. You have to assume he was. But he said that this is the tour guide talking to the people he's, he's showing around. He said, when the Spaniards got there, the Spanish, when they ferried over and got over there, they asked the natives, "How did you build these?" And the natives that were living there said, "We didn't build these."
Wow.
They didn't know. Nobody knows. And
so they've just been there a long time, and no one's sure of who actually built them.
And I've heard stuff recently that even a lot of the jungles in South America are littered with cities. We're just now seeing these. They probably
have.
We're seeing
probably
with all this new technology. They're seeing they're ruins now, but they were look. Over the years, obviously, people that have taken over certain lands, they erase history. That's how you start your own thing. Even when the Spaniards went over to, they looted all the gold, they stripped all the gold.
Mo-Fei Chen says, I really feel like it's an insult to ancient humans and their capabilities because it took them decades to build those things. Yeah. We're used to buildings being built in a couple of years.
Yeah, but look, someone points out.
So.
Yeah, but look how far.
We still don't know how they did it.
Listen, look how far.
So if they did, we still don't know how, and it's very.
Right, it's a different technology.
It's interesting whether people think the aliens did it or people did it.
Because aliens didn't do it.
I think
human beings. Look how far look how far we've come. Not me. I don't know how to. I could barely install a screen door. But there are human beings that in our day and age that invented television. How the hell that works? Still, it blows my mind. And everything else going to the moon. But we've come in 200 years. Pretty crazy stuff. We've been to the moon. We're going to Mars as a clique. Now, human beings have been around a lot longer than that.
Thousands of years.
There could be lost civilizations that had technologies different than what we have that aren't based on nuclear, aren't based on the combustion engine.
Probably more natural things.
There could be Tesla. Nikola Tesla was a good example of one of these. What if there was a 1,000 Nikola Teslas? 100,000 years ago.
We don't know.
I know we don't know, but I'm saying, what if there was?
I know.
Could you imagine what they could come up with?
Exactly.
He was talking on all the stuff he was coming up with.
Because
governments got rid of.
And you have to think, people from those time periods weren't as distracted as we are now.
No, but
there's always a screen that we're scrolling through. There's always a TV on. There's always all this stuff. And there's all these distractions. And back then, it was probably, some people were probably very hyper focused on learning things and developing and building.
And so to put the aliens, and I'm not saying there's not aliens, but the alien pyramid thing. One thing, if y'all want to look it up, if you don't know about this is a really cool thing. It exists. It's in Florida. It's called Coral Castle.
Oh yes, and no one knows how he built Coral Castle.
Well, let's give They don't know what you're talking about. So there's a structure called Coral Castle that was actually built in one place in Florida, then moved. This is the story, overnight by 130-pound man who claimed to have discovered the secrets of the Egyptians, or whoever built the pyramids. Mm-hmm. So Coral Castle is this huge stone structure that, according to, and it's got to be true because it exists. You can go look it up. You can go visit it. He built this. There's like these huge walls, like we call it crescent moon. That's huge. A big stone door that kind of pivots in the center that you can turn.
Fulton Pierce made this comment before you started talking. Grim, what about the guy in Florida who moved massive slabs of rock, tons worth, without modern tools? Said he did it the same way the pyramids were built.
Okay, I didn't even see that comment.
So that's what you're talking. Yep.
Right. So we're gonna do apples to apples here. So we see the pyramids in Egypt, and you can go to Florida. You can look it up in Florida. You can even go visit it. You could probably see it. It's a real structure, and it's one man that did this. Which to me says there's some sort of technology. It's so sad he didn't leave the proof behind. They did find some weird like machines, like levers and some kind of weird thing that he left behind, but they still don't know how he did it. And if you read about it, you'll see that he was supposed to have got evicted or something happened with the land he was on. He all by himself in a truck, he moved all these stones to another location.
Wow!
But it's this big wall and there's a big stone chair he made, but this 130-pound man did it all by himself. So
incredible.
So all I'm saying is that if he figured out something.
Well, and John Biggins, or was it him, or there was someone? Oh, yeah. John says there's a guy on YouTube who moves huge 10-ton stones by himself.
I've seen that dude, but we're talking about
10 tons.
Well, some of the granite slabs in the Great Pyramid are 70 tons granite. So, and they're stacked up, and there's like multiples.
Yeah, like how would you lift that? Jeez.
And
some of them look like they're like precision cut.
Yes. Well, you can't fit a credit card. Yeah, those are the stones of the pyramid, but there's stuff inside the pyramid that's made of granite. It's very odd. Mm-hmm. The king's chambers, and there's multiple chambers. There's the I don't know if I could handle going. My head would probably blow up. But it is amazing. Now it could be as easy as it's just a winch I put on here and I can put this rope around it and pull. Maybe there's something that easy to that. You have to just say these 3 words like this and stuff starts floating. We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, it's real easy. All you have to do is go, bloop. Oh, look at that stone float. I don't know. It could be. We just don't think we don't understand. But it's there. That's the thing. The fact of the matter is those structures are there. They got built somehow.
So it's definitely interesting. And,
aliens are a placeholder.
We want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching. I think it's time for me to go crawl back
into hour 2 of UFOs. No.
And crawl back into the sarcophagus.
Yes, and I have
get
to
some sleep.
Rest my monkey brain. But hey, a lot of fun talking to y'all.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. And there's lots of mysteries and things we're still trying to learn about.
Yes, I think it's good
to always want to learn things. So
I can go on forever, but
yes, you can.
Yeah, I love it.
You can stay and chat, Grim. I'm gonna.
Oh, there are so many theories.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and.
I'm good.
Go to bed.
We got works to do. All right. Thank you, everybody, so much. Enjoy your Easter weekend. Have a safe one. Eat some yummy food. Have some good times. Mm-hmm. And we'll do it all again on some future Friday night.
All right. Good night, good fright, everybody. Mwah! Happy Easter.
Da 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 ba da ba.